In the midst of the unforgiving chaos that was World War I, there existed a particularly eerie stretch of trenches on the Western Front. The soldiers whispered tales of a cursed section, known only as No Man's Hollow. This desolate patch of land seemed to be a breeding ground for horror, where shadows moved with a life of their own and the air hung heavy with an otherworldly presence. One fateful night, a young and skeptical soldier named Thomas found himself assigned to patrol No Man's Hollow. Dismissing the warnings of his comrades as mere superstition, he ventured into the darkness armed with his rifle and a wavering sense of bravado. As Thomas navigated the narrow and winding trenches, a bone-chilling wind whispered through the air, carrying with it ghostly moans and distant screams. Unease settled in his stomach, but he pressed on, determined to prove the tales wrong. Suddenly, the trench walls seemed to close in, and the oppressive darkness swallowed Thomas whole. He stumbled upon a scene that defied reason: ghostly apparitions of fallen soldiers, their eyes hollow and devoid of life, silently marching through the mud and barbed wire. Paralyzed with fear, Thomas watched as the phantoms reenacted the grim moments of their demise. The air reeked of blood and despair, and the sound of ghostly footsteps echoed through the hollow. Whispers filled his mind, each voice recounting tales of lost hopes and shattered dreams. Desperation clawed at Thomas's heart as he tried to escape the nightmarish parade. The once familiar trenches transformed into a labyrinth of horrors, and shadows danced in macabre celebration. He felt an unseen force guiding him deeper into the heart of No Man's Hollow. In the ghostly glow of an ethereal moon, Thomas encountered a spectral figure, a commanding officer from a bygone era. The ghostly leader fixed Thomas with a hollow gaze and spoke of the ceaseless agony that bound them to this wretched place. As the night wore on, Thomas struggled to break free from the grip of the supernatural forces. Sunrise finally pierced the haunted landscape, dispelling the malevolent spirits that tormented him throughout the night. When fellow soldiers found Thomas, he was a mere shell of the skeptical man who had ventured into the trenches. From that day forward, Thomas never spoke of the horrors he witnessed in No Man's Hollow. The other soldiers, however, knew better than to dismiss the tales of the cursed trenches. The haunting specters of World War I's No Man's Hollow endured, forever trapped in a purgatory of war, their anguished cries echoing through the desolate corridors of time. Years passed, and the echoes of No Man's Hollow lingered in the minds of those who survived the war. The trench gained a notorious reputation, and soldiers spoke in hushed tones about the cursed patch of land that bore witness to unspeakable horrors. Decades later, during a period of uneasy peace, a historian named Amelia became fascinated by the tales surrounding No Man's Hollow. Driven by a relentless curiosity, she embarked on a mission to uncover the truth behind the legends. Amelia delved into archives, studied war diaries, and interviewed veterans who had experienced the terrors of World War I. The more she learned, the more convinced she became that there was a deeper, supernatural layer to No Man's Hollow. Determined to confront the mysteries that lay within the haunted trenches, Amelia organized an expedition to the long-forgotten battleground. She enlisted the help of experts in paranormal research, hoping to capture evidence that would either validate or debunk the chilling stories. As the team descended into the trench, the air grew thick with anticipation. The once silent echoes of war seemed to awaken, whispering tales of sorrow and despair. Strange phenomena manifested: ghostly apparitions, inexplicable cold spots, and unexplained sounds that reverberated through the narrow passageways. Amelia's team pressed on, their scientific instruments capturing anomalies that defied explanation. The paranormal investigators, initially skeptical, found themselves confronting an undeniable reality beyond the realm of conventional understanding. In the heart of No Man's Hollow, they encountered the spectral figure of the long-deceased commanding officer. The ghostly leader, still clad in tattered uniform, spoke through the medium of electronic voice phenomena, recounting the unending torment that bound them to the trenches. Amelia, though terrified, felt a profound sense of empathy for the tormented souls trapped in this ethereal purgatory. The expedition became a journey of reconciliation, as the living sought to understand and acknowledge the pain endured by the dead. As the team retreated from No Man's Hollow, they left behind a recording device to capture any lingering whispers of the past. The haunting voices persisted, echoing the tragic stories of soldiers who had faced the brutality of war and the lingering scars it left on their souls. Amelia emerged from the trenches changed, forever marked by the spectral encounters in No Man's Hollow. She dedicated her life to preserving the memory of those who had suffered, ensuring that the horrors of war would not be forgotten. No Man's Hollow, once a forgotten corner of history, became a symbol of the enduring cost of conflict. The haunted trenches stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a warning against the horrors that could manifest in the darkest corners of war-torn landscapes. In the years that followed, the haunted reputation of No Man's Hollow became widely known, drawing the attention of researchers, historians, and even thrill-seekers eager to witness the paranormal phenomena for themselves. The site became a focal point for discussions about the lingering impact of war on the spiritual realm. Amelia's findings sparked debates among scholars, with some dismissing the stories as elaborate legends born from the traumas of war. However, others, having experienced the eerie atmosphere firsthand, couldn't deny the existence of something otherworldly in the trenches. The site also attracted a new wave of paranormal investigators, each seeking to uncover the mysteries hidden within the haunted confines of No Man's Hollow. Some aimed to communicate with the spirits, while others sought to unravel the history behind the cursed land. One particularly daring team decided to spend a night in the trenches, armed with state-of-the-art paranormal detection equipment. As darkness fell, they felt an oppressive energy settling over No Man's Hollow, and their devices lit up with activity. Ghostly shadows danced along the trench walls, and disembodied voices echoed through the still night air. The team recorded electronic voice phenomena capturing the anguished whispers of soldiers long gone. Eerily, the voice of the commanding officer, first encountered by Amelia, resonated through their equipment, pleading for release from the shackles of the past. As dawn approached, the investigators retreated from the haunted grounds, their equipment filled with chilling evidence of the supernatural. The recordings, photographs, and personal accounts shared by the team added layers to the mystique surrounding No Man's Hollow, solidifying its status as a paranormal hotspot. Despite the growing fascination with the site, there was an unspoken agreement among locals and those who had studied the haunted history of No Man's Hollow. The trenches were to be approached with reverence and caution, a solemn reminder of the sacrifices made during a time of unfathomable conflict. The legends of No Man's Hollow endured, becoming woven into the tapestry of World War I's haunting legacy. The site stood as a poignant reminder of the human toll of war, both in the physical realm and the lingering echoes of the supernatural. Though the trenches were silent, the stories of the tormented souls who wandered there continued to resonate, ensuring that the horrors of No Man's Hollow would never fade from memory. In the heart of the Ardennes Forest during World War I, there existed a stretch of trenches enveloped in an ethereal fog that clung to the landscape like a shroud. This eerie mist earned the trenches a chilling moniker, the Veiled Corridor. Soldiers whispered tales of strange occurrences and unexplainable phenomena that plagued those who dared to venture into its depths. Among the men stationed in this haunted corridor was Corporal Samuel Reynolds, a pragmatic and level-headed soldier who scoffed at the superstitions circulating among his comrades. Samuel prided himself on his rationality, dismissing the supernatural tales as the product of war-weary minds. One fog-laden night, however, Samuel's convictions would be put to the ultimate test. He received orders for a solo reconnaissance mission deep into the Veiled Corridor, tasked with gathering intelligence on enemy positions. As he set out into the mist-shrouded trenches, the air grew thick with an ominous stillness that sent shivers down his spine. The path ahead twisted and turned, morphing into a disorienting maze obscured by the dense fog. Samuel's lantern cast feeble beams that barely penetrated the swirling grey curtain, and the sounds of distant gunfire and anguished cries merged with the haunting moans of the wind. Deeper into the corridor, Samuel encountered shadows that seemed to move independently of the fog. Unnerved but determined, he pressed on, attributing the unsettling sights to his fatigued mind playing tricks on him. As he advanced, the fog thickened and the trench walls seemed to close in. The whispers of unseen voices intensified, and Samuel felt a growing unease gnawing at his resolve. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a section of the trench that was different from the rest, an area untouched by the ravages of war, frozen in an eerie stillness. In this peculiar pocket of tranquility, Samuel discovered a makeshift memorial adorned with tattered photographs and weathered letters. The fog lifted momentarily, revealing the faces of soldiers long gone. Their eyes seemed to follow him, pleading for remembrance. In the stillness, the air vibrated with a spectral energy. Samuel, now acutely aware of the supernatural forces at play, felt an unseen presence guiding him through the memories trapped within the veiled corridor. The fog closed in once more as Samuel approached a spectral figure, an officer clad in a uniform adorned with medals tarnished by the passage of time. The ghostly commander spoke of the fateful night when the trenches were engulfed in poisonous gas, recounting the desperation and horror that unfolded. As the officer spoke, the trenches transformed into a haunting tableau, a reenactment of the tragic events that had transpired. Samuel witnessed the faces of soldiers contorted in agony, gasping for breath in the choking fog. Overwhelmed by the spectral revelations, Samuel realized that the veiled corridor was a portal to the past, a place where the memories of those who perished lingered, trapped in a perpetual loop of despair. As dawn approached, the fog dissipated and the haunted visions receded. Samuel emerged from the veiled corridor, forever changed by the spectral journey he had undertaken. He carried with him the weight of the untold stories, vowing to ensure that the sacrifices of those lost in the fog would not be forgotten. In the years that followed, Samuel became an advocate for preserving the haunted history of the veiled corridor. He shared his experiences with historians and researchers, ensuring that the tales of the fog-shrouded trenches would be etched into the annals of war. The whispers in the fog endured, carried by the wind that swept through the Ardennes Forest. The veiled corridor, though silent, continued to echo with the voices of the fallen, a testament to the enduring connection between the living and the spectral remnants of a bygone era. Samuel's quest to preserve the haunted history of the veiled corridor led him to collaborate with historians and paranormal researchers. Together, they sought to unravel the mysteries that shrouded the fog-laden trenches and to ensure that the stories of the spectral encounters were documented for future generations. As news of Samuel's experiences spread, the veiled corridor gained a reputation among those intrigued by the supernatural. The site became a magnet for investigators, historians, and thrill-seekers eager to explore its haunted depths. Despite warnings from Samuel and others who had ventured into the fog, the allure of the mysterious corridor proved irresistible. One particularly intrepid group of paranormal enthusiasts decided to conduct an overnight investigation in the veiled corridor. Armed with infrared cameras, audio recording devices, and an array of sensors, they set out to capture evidence of the supernatural occurrences that had become the stuff of legend. As night fell, the fog crept in, enveloping the trench in an impenetrable veil. The investigators, undeterred, pressed forward, their cameras capturing the shifting shadows and spectral echoes that seemed to dance in the mist. The air crackled with energy as the team delved deeper into the haunted corridor. Unexplained footsteps echoed through the fog, and disembodied whispers filled the stillness. The infrared cameras picked up anomalies, ethereal figures that appeared for fleeting moments, their outlines barely visible through the dense mist. In a moment of chilling revelation, the investigators stumbled upon the makeshift memorial that Samuel had encountered during his spectral journey. The photographs flooded in the ghostly breeze, and the voices of the past seemed to resonate through the letters and mementos left behind. As the investigators continued their exploration, they reached the same spot where Samuel had encountered the ghostly officer. The air grew heavy with a palpable sorrow, and the senses flickered in response to the otherworldly presence. The officer's voice echoed through the trench, recounting the harrowing events of that fateful night in vivid detail. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and the investigators felt an icy chill permeating the air. The fog thickened and the trench transformed into a spectral tableau, a haunting reenactment of the gas attack that had claimed so many lives. The investigators, shaken by the immersive encounter, retreated from the veiled corridor as dawn approached. Their recordings, photographs, and personal accounts added new layers to the enigma of the haunted trench, confirming the existence of a supernatural realm intertwined with the memories of war. In the aftermath of the investigation, the veiled corridor became a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts and historians alike. Samuel's efforts to preserve the site as a testament to the sacrifices of the past were realized, and the veiled corridor stood as a living memorial to the spirits that lingered in the mist. As the years passed, the veiled corridor retained its haunted reputation, a place where the boundary between the living and the spectral realm blurred. Samuel's dedication ensured that the stories of the fog-shrouded trenches would endure, a cautionary tale about the lingering echoes of war that transcended the boundaries of time and mortality. The whispers in the fog persisted, carried by the wind that swept through the Ardennes Forest, a reminder of the connection between the living and the spectral remnants of a bygone era. The legend of the veiled corridor continued to weave its eerie tapestry through the decades, captivating the imagination of those drawn to the intersection of history and the supernatural. Samuel, now an elder statesman dedicated to preserving the haunting legacy of the trench, became a sought-after storyteller. His accounts of the fog-shrouded encounters and spectral revelations brought both reverence and trepidation to the site. In the modern era, a team of filmmakers decided to explore the mysteries of the veiled corridor, hoping to capture the haunting atmosphere on film. Armed with high-definition cameras and advanced recording equipment, they embarked on a journey to document the spectral tales that had become synonymous with the fog-laden trenches. The film crew set up their base camp near the entrance of the veiled corridor, ready to immerse themselves in the chilling unknown. As they ventured into the fog, their cameras captured the ethereal dance of shadows, and the mist seemed to take on a life of its own, swirling with an unnatural energy. The eerie stillness of the trench resonated with the team, and the sound of distant gunfire and phantom footsteps added to the unsettling ambience. As they explored deeper, the temperature dropped and the air became charged with an otherworldly electricity. In a moment of profound discovery, the filmmakers stumbled upon the spectral memorial, its contents frozen in a perpetual state of remembrance. The old photographs, tattered letters, and weathered artifacts seemed to come alive through the lens, telling a silent story of sacrifice and loss. As the team continued their exploration, they reached the same spot where Samuel had encountered the ghostly officer. The cameras captured the subtle shifts in the atmosphere as the spectral voice recounted the tragic events of the past. The trench itself seemed to reverberate with the echoes of history. The filmmakers, committed to unraveling the mysteries of the veiled corridor, deployed cutting-edge technology to communicate with the other side. Electronic voice phenomena echoed through the trench, and infrared cameras picked up fleeting glimpses of ghostly figures. Unseen hands seemed to brush against the investigators, leaving behind a chilling sensation. In the heart of the fog, the filmmakers experienced a moment of profound connection with the past. The boundaries between the living and the spectral realm blurred, and the team felt as though they were stepping into the memories trapped within the mist. The veiled corridor had become a bridge between two worlds, a conduit for the spirits to share their untold stories. As dawn approached, the filmmakers emerged from the veiled corridor, their cameras filled with spectral evidence that would both mesmerize and terrify those who dared to witness the haunting footage. The documentary they crafted became a testament to the enduring mysteries of war and the uncharted territories that exist on the fringes of the supernatural. The film's release ignited a renewed interest in the veiled corridor, drawing historians, paranormal enthusiasts, and curious minds from around the world. Samuel, now a guardian of the haunting legacy, continued to share his experiences, ensuring that the stories of sacrifice and spectral encounters endured beyond the passing of time. The legend of the veiled corridor persisted, a cautionary tale about the unexplored dimensions of history and the lingering echoes of war. The whispers in the fog, captured on film and echoed through the years, became a somber reminder of the deep connection between the living and the spectral remnants of a bygone era. The haunted trench, forever etched into the collective consciousness, stood as a timeless testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the mysteries that linger in the fog of war. In the heart of the First World War, amidst the relentless barrage of artillery and the suffocating stench of gas, there existed a desolate stretch of trenches near the town of Verdun. The soldiers spoke in hushed tones about a cursed nook, hidden amid the labyrinth of mud and decay, known simply as the Forgotten Hollow. Private Robert Thornton, a young soldier with a reputation for bravery, found himself stationed near the Forgotten Hollow. Unlike his comrades, Robert dismissed the supernatural tales as the byproduct of war-weary minds seeking refuge in the macabre. His skepticism, however, was destined to crumble in the face of the inexplicable. One moonless night, Robert received orders for a solo reconnaissance mission into the Forgotten Hollow. Armed with a rifle and a dimly flickering lantern, he ventured into the shadowy abyss, determined to prove that fear was but a figment of the imagination. As Robert navigated the serpentine trenches, the silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by the distant echoes of artillery fire. The mud-slicked walls seemed to ooze despair, and the oppressive darkness closed in on him like a tightening vice. Undeterred, he pressed forward, guided solely by the wavering light of his lantern. As he ventured deeper, the trench walls transformed into shifting silhouettes that whispered secrets of the fallen. Faint, ghostly echoes of laughter and distant conversations reverberated through the hollow, causing Robert's heart to quicken. An unnatural chill gripped the air, and unseen eyes seemed to watch his every step. Suddenly, the trench widened into a small clearing, bathed in an otherworldly glow. A spectral mist slithered through the mud, forming ephemeral shapes that danced in the moonlight. Apparitions of long-gone soldiers materialized, their faces etched with the agony of war. Among the phantoms, Robert discerned a figure clad in a tattered uniform, his gaze hollow and filled with a haunting sorrow. The ghostly officer spoke not with words, but with an ethereal resonance that echoed through the desolate hollow. He gestured toward a patch of scorched earth, revealing the remnants of a long-forgotten battle. As the ghostly visions unfolded, Robert found himself transported back in time, witnessing the horrors of Verdun's blood-soaked history. He saw the faces of comrades lost, heard the screams of the wounded, and felt the palpable weight of despair that clung to the trench like a malevolent spectre. The spectral officer guided Robert through the harrowing scenes, each step unearthing a layer of untold tragedy. It became evident that the Forgotten Hollow was a nexus, a place where the anguish of the past intersected with the present. As dawn approached, the ghostly apparitions faded, and Robert emerged from the Forgotten Hollow forever changed. The weight of the spectral encounters bore heavily on his shoulders, challenging the very fabric of his skepticism. He returned to his comrades with a haunted gaze, unable to articulate the horrors he had witnessed. Over the following years, Robert became a recluse, haunted by the memories of the Forgotten Hollow. His once vibrant spirit dulled, replaced by a quiet desperation that seemed to echo the lingering cries of the fallen. The soldiers who had once scoffed at the supernatural now avoided the Forgotten Hollow, sensing an unspoken malevolence that clung to its depths. Decades later, in the midst of a peaceful Verdun, a historian named Emily Carter stumbled upon Robert's long-forgotten accounts. Intrigued by the tale of the Forgotten Hollow, she embarked on a mission to uncover the truth behind the spectral mysteries that shrouded the trench. Armed with a passion for history and a relentless determination, Emily delved into archives, war diaries, and eyewitness accounts. The more she uncovered, the more she realized that the Forgotten Hollow held a dark secret, a portal to the traumatic echoes of Verdun's past. Emily assembled a team of paranormal investigators, each with their own expertise in uncovering the supernatural. Together, they set out to explore the Forgotten Hollow, armed with advanced technology that would capture evidence of the spectral encounters that had long plagued the trench. As night fell over Verdun, the Forgotten Hollow emerged from the shadows, a desolate testament to the scars of war. The investigators, their equipment humming with anticipation, began their journey into the heart of the haunted trench. The air thickened with an otherworldly tension as the team advanced. Shadows danced along the trench walls, and the distant echoes of phantom footsteps reverberated through the hollow. Emily, undeterred by the eerie atmosphere, pressed forward, her eyes fixed on the enigma that lay ahead. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and a spectral mist enveloped the investigators. Wisps of fog curled around them, forming ghostly shapes that seemed to beckon from the past. The investigators, now immersed in the ethereal landscape, watched as the trench transformed into a ghostly tableau of Verdun's darkest hours. Apparitions of soldiers marched in silent procession, their faces etched with the weight of unspoken burdens. Emily, guided by an unseen force, witnessed the ghostly reenactment of the long-forgotten battle, each moment unfolding like a tragic tapestry woven from the threads of time. In the midst of the spectral visions, Emily encountered the ghostly officer, the same figure that had guided Robert decades earlier. His eyes bore into her soul, conveying a profound sadness that transcended the boundaries of life and death. The officer's spectral voice resonated through the hollow, recounting the untold stories of those who had perished in the mire of Verdun. As dawn approached, the apparitions faded, and the investigators found themselves standing in the empty trench, the weight of history lingering in the air. Emily, now burdened with the responsibility of preserving the haunted legacy of the forgotten hollow, emerged from the depths forever changed. The team's recordings, photographs, and first-hand accounts added a new chapter to the legend of the forgotten hollow. Emily, driven by a sense of duty to those who had suffered, shared their findings with the world, ensuring that the stories of the spectral encounters in Verdun would not fade into obscurity. The forgotten hollow, though silent, retained its haunted reputation, a place where the echoes of war lingered in perpetual mourning. The legends of the cursed trench, now documented and acknowledged, stood as a solemn reminder of the enduring cost of conflict and the chilling mysteries that lie beneath the surface of history. Years passed, and the legends of the forgotten hollow persisted, becoming an integral part of Verdun's haunted history. Emily Carter, now a respected authority on paranormal phenomena, dedicated her life to preserving the memories of the spectral encounters in the trench. She curated exhibitions, penned articles, and lectured on the ethereal mysteries that clung to the desolate corridors of Verdun. The stories of the forgotten hollow transcended the realm of local folklore, capturing the attention of filmmakers, historians, and curious minds from around the world. In the midst of this renewed interest, a documentary filmmaker named Jonathan Miller decided to explore the haunted trench and shed light on the enigmatic tales that had lingered for decades. Armed with state-of-the-art cameras, advanced recording equipment, and a crew of seasoned professionals, Jonathan set out to capture the essence of the forgotten hollow. His documentary, titled Veil of Shadows, aimed to unravel the mysteries that shrouded the trench and expose the world to the chilling truth that lay hidden in the heart of Verdun. The film crew established their base camp near the entrance of the forgotten hollow, surrounded by an air of anticipation and trepidation. As night fell over Verdun, the trench seemed to come alive with a spectral energy, and the crew, armed with their equipment, embarked on a journey into the heart of the haunted corridor. The cameras rolled as the investigators advanced, the eerie glow of their lanterns piercing the darkness. Jonathan, with a mix of skepticism and curiosity, led the way, determined to capture on film the unexplained phenomena that had plagued the forgotten hollow for generations. The temperature dropped, and the air thickened as the crew delved deeper into the trench. Wisps of spectral mist curled around the camera lenses, creating an otherworldly visual spectacle. Unseen footsteps echoed through the hollow, and the crew members exchanged nervous glances as the weight of the supernatural descended upon them. In a moment of surreal revelation, the crew discovered the spectral memorial that had become a focal point of the forgotten hollow's haunting legacy. Jonathan, his camera capturing the haunting images, marveled at the artifacts frozen in time, each telling a silent tale of sacrifice and loss. As the crew continued their exploration, they reached the same spot where Robert and Emily had encountered the ghostly officer. The air became charged with an unspoken sorrow, and the cameras picked up subtle shifts in the atmosphere. Jonathan, now fully immersed in the haunted history of Verdun, listened intently as the ghostly officer's voice resonated through the trench, recounting the tragic events that had unfolded. The cameras captured the ethereal reenactment of the long-forgotten battle as the apparitions of soldiers marched in a silent procession. The crew, now spellbound by the haunting visions, felt a profound connection to the past, their own footsteps echoing alongside the spectral phantoms. As dawn approached, the apparitions faded, and the crew found themselves standing in the empty trench, the weight of history lingering in the air. The footage captured by Jonathan's cameras became a cinematic tapestry of the supernatural, a visual testament to the spectral encounters that had plagued the Forgotten Hollow for decades. Veil of Shadows premiered at film festivals worldwide, drawing critical acclaim for its evocative portrayal of the Forgotten Hollow's haunted legacy. The documentary sparked renewed interest in Verdun's spectral mysteries, prompting scholars, researchers, and thrill-seekers to explore the enigmatic corridors of the trench. The Forgotten Hollow, now an internationally recognized symbol of war's enduring impact, attracted visitors from all corners of the globe. Emily, Robert, and even Jonathan became ambassadors of the haunted history, guiding tours, sharing their experiences, and ensuring that the sacrifices of those who had perished in the shadowy depths were never forgotten. Verdun, once scarred by the tragedies of war, now stood as a beacon of remembrance, a place where the living and the spectral met in a dance between the past and the present. The legends of the Forgotten Hollow, captured on film and etched into the collective consciousness, served as a poignant reminder of the complex interplay between history, memory, and the chilling mysteries that linger in the shadows. As the years passed, the haunted history of Verdun and the Forgotten Hollow continued to captivate the world. The once quiet town became a pilgrimage site for those seeking to explore the intersection of war and the supernatural. The influx of visitors brought both curiosity and controversy, as skeptics clashed with believers over the authenticity of the spectral tales. One day, a team of renowned paranormal investigators arrived in Verdun, drawn by the allure of the Forgotten Hollow's dark reputation. Led by Dr. Eleanor Mitchell, a respected expert in the field, the team aimed to conduct a comprehensive study of the trench's supernatural phenomena. Their goal was to unravel the mysteries that had eluded previous investigators and shed light on the spectral echoes that resonated through the haunted corridors. Dr. Mitchell and her team set up a temporary research headquarters near the Forgotten Hollow, equipped with an array of cutting-edge technology. In addition to traditional ghost hunting tools, they employed advanced sensors, spectral imaging devices, and real-time data analysis to capture the most accurate and irrefutable evidence of the paranormal. As night fell, the investigators entered the Forgotten Hollow armed with their instruments and a determination to pierce through the veil of the unknown. The air thickened with anticipation, and the temperature dropped as they delved into the heart of the haunted trench. The team's instruments began registering anomalies immediately. Unexplained fluctuations in electromagnetic fields, temperature drops, and audio disturbances filled their logbooks. Dr. Mitchell, a seasoned researcher with a skeptical mindset, found herself intrigued by the sheer volume and consistency of the data. The spectral mist that had eluded previous investigators now manifested in vivid hues on the team's spectral imaging devices. Ephemeral shapes danced in the darkness, and the investigators witnessed the spectral reenactment of the long-forgotten battle that had unfolded in the trench. The apparitions marched in silent procession, their faces etched with the haunting pain of war. In a moment of eerie revelation, the investigators encountered the ghostly officer, his presence confirmed by the synchronized readings on their instruments. Dr. Mitchell, maintaining her scientific composure, attempted to engage in communication using state-of-the-art spirit communication devices. To their astonishment, the officer's spectral voice resonated through the electronic frequencies, providing responses that left the investigators both awestruck and perplexed. The ghostly revelations hinted at a deeper connection between the past and the present, suggesting that the Forgotten Hollow acted as a conduit for the collective memories of war. As the night wore on, the investigators continued their exploration, guided by the unseen forces that seemed to shape the narrative of their investigation. The trench, now a canvas of spectral imprints, became a testament to the enduring impact of conflict on the human psyche. Dawn approached, and the investigators emerged from the Forgotten Hollow with a trove of unprecedented data. Dr. Mitchell has skepticism tempered by the undeniable evidence, contemplated the implications of their findings. The haunting echoes of Verdun's past, captured through a fusion of science and the supernatural, marked a new chapter in the exploration of paranormal phenomena. The team's findings were presented in a groundbreaking documentary, heralded for its scientific rigor and the compelling nature of the evidence. The once skeptical academic community now grappled with the implications of the Forgotten Hollows mysteries, challenging traditional views on the boundaries between the living and the spectral realm. Verdun, forever marked by the spectral legacy of the Forgotten Hollow, embraced its role as a beacon of historical and paranormal inquiry. The town, once a forgotten corner of war-torn history, now stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring mysteries that linger in the shadows of the past. And so, the legends of the Forgotten Hollow lived on, evolving with each generation, as new explorers and investigators sought to uncover the secrets buried within the haunted trench. The spectral echoes of Verdun's history persisted, carried by the wind that whispered through the corridors of the Forgotten Hollow, a haunting reminder of the complex interplay between war, memory, and the enigmatic world of the supernatural.